Christina. I'm introducing Austin Zulauf today. He's from Kentucky in the US. He's a vice president of Zulauf, a corporation, an unprecedented nutritional range that has amazing components in it that you won't find anywhere else. So Austin's been a mentor and trainer for 3 of the Fortune 500 companies. Now, one of the things I was quite inspired with when I came upon you and we first started chatting, wasn't just, hey, all the obvious things I've just said about wealth and success and all that. It was, you've got a family, you've got freedom to be with your family in times as well, especially now where people have had time to be with their families, but at the cost of the COVID. But you've been like free to do this because of what you've set up within your company and within the successes that you had. Now it's Toretta, isn't it? And Kayla and Braden, is that correct? That's your family,
That's
isn't
right.
it?
Yeah. My wife's name is Toretta, and my son is 9. He's Braden, and Kayla's a teenager now. So she's in her room most of the time. I haven't seen her in forever. I'm assuming that she still lives here. So.
Oh yeah, she's just camping out in her bedroom somewhere.
Yeah, teenager stuff,
Yeah, I like that idea. We can relate with that a lot. Now, obviously, you've got the financial freedom of this every day, but I know you started off quite humbly, and I'd like to sort of touch on that a little bit. You started in humble beginnings.
So, I appreciate all the kind words, first of all, and I just got to give it back to you. I love being around you. You're so positive. Your energy is through the roof. Just good stuff. So I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere where I was related to everybody. And so by the time I was my son's age, 9 years old, I was stripping tobacco and, helping with baling hay and throwing hay on the trucks and all that stuff. So, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. We were, kind of a lower middle class. We thought we were doing well, but it's just because there was nothing to compare it to. There was nowhere around way before the internet. And so whenever I was 10 years old, I was fortunate enough to have our house burned down and we lose everything so we could move to a city and start over. So that was neat. And whenever we did, I got involved in, stupid stuff. I was in the streets and all this good nonsense and whatnot. But by the time I was 19, I got involved in corporate America because I knew my life was headed in, no good direction, right? So I got involved in corporate America, did really well in that for about 7 years. Then there was a corporate restructuring, which meant I was out of a job. So if anyone watching this has ever been fired or laid off or anything like that, that's what I was going through. And it was back in 2008. So I had a great resume, but I put it out there and no one cared because our economy wasn't doing that great. And I wound up in a factory, just working, 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, sweating my tail off. And just, it was really humbling because, I thought I was great. Right. And I find that whenever you get that ego, whenever you think you're amazing, God likes to show you how you didn't do it. Right. It was with his help. And so it was interesting. Did that for a couple years, literally 2 years. I found the profession of network marketing. And at that time, I had lost my house. I had lost everything. I went from 20 grand a month to 20 grand a year, which was, if you've ever cut your income in 1/12, it was a challenge to say the least. And, it was just an interesting paradigm shift that I had. And so whenever I found network marketing, I had nothing. I was sleeping couch to couch, eating at the canned food drive at the Salvation Army. And finally, reluctantly, I moved back in with my mom, and she wasn't really doing much better. She was just struggling to keep her home, and she didn't really have any extra room for me and my daughter, but she made room. And so I found network marketing. I was on Facebook, and I saw a guy that looked like he was doing well. The profile picture was him on stage with a microphone. So I knew he was doing better than I was. So I reached out to him, asked him what he was doing, and the rest is history. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He appeared to be busy, said, if I were to send you a little info, when would you get a chance to check it out? Give me your honest feedback. So I checked it out. I had the choice because I was like beyond broke. Like I was on BROK and the E was on layaway, right? Like I was hoping to be broke one day, right? And he gave me some interesting things to think about. And I knew that if I kept doing what I've been doing, I would have kept getting what I've been getting. That's just how this universe works. And I knew I needed to try something different. And this was different. So I sold everything that I had that was worth $1 and took an entire paycheck from the factory, and I joined the company, and I was garbage. I was so bad when I first started because I was so desperate. I was running friends and family off. I was talking to strangers in the grocery store. I mean, I was doing it. I had the ambition. I just didn't have the knowledge and the skill set. And so it took me a while to get the hang of it. But since then, as you mentioned, I've been the #1 income earner in 3 separate companies, helped to retire over 600 families from their full-time employment. And it's just been amazing since, for sure.
Brilliant. So what we're looking at here is applying the success principles, the things you've done, because everybody fails their way to success. Sure, they do. But when they've got a proven track record, they've got somebody that's doing it right, that they know what they're doing and talking about, and they've got this great product behind us. Because with Zealous, we've got this amazing nutritional range from our point of view that does amazing things, from improving immunity to boosting energy, to having weight loss, but performance energy, those qualities that people are lacking today. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about that nutritional range and what you've got to offer.
First of all, if I had had something like this, like what Zealous has, as far as products and compensation and infrastructure, if I had had that from the start when I was in network marketing, I would have earned 3 times as much money because their product offering is so unique and it's just so valuable and so needed, especially right now. And we've worked really hard on creating a compensation plan that is really, really good for your person just getting started and your mid-level people. Of course, your people that are earning $1 million a month, they're going to do that in anything. You know what I'm saying? They're going to kill it in whatever. So we're wanting to make sure that we create an army of people that, don't have to have the $1 million a month, list and mindset and skill set and work ethic, and they still, make good money. The product line is a nutraceutical line in a 7-year-old company based out of Luxembourg. And it's really neat because their standards for food and supplements are a lot better than we have in the United States. So they, the efficacy of the products is unmatched. So it's based off of a blue-green algae strain that they've developed, in these photobioreactors, this patented photobioreactor technology. They've developed this patented strain of blue-green algae where they've been able to add different nutrients and salts and things to the water. It's not grown out in the open like everybody else's blue-green algae, because the challenge with that is, yes, it's been referred to as the world's most perfect superfood, right? Which doesn't get any better than that, the world's most perfect. But blue-green algae is like a sponge. It soaks up all the bad stuff. So if you grow it outdoors at all, you're going to get pollutants, probably pesticides, probably heavy metals, different things. And so, yes, you are getting the world's most perfect superfood from all these other companies that sell blue-green algae on this planet, but you're also getting microdosed with a lot of bad stuff. And it's enough for some people to make them deathly ill. So what we've done is we've taken this patented strain of blue-green algae and grown it in a completely closed and controlled environment. And we're even able to control the light and darkness ratio and everything. So we have the most nutrient dense, which has every vitamin, mineral, nutrient, and amino acid and protein that the body needs, period, which is insane to have that. The only thing it doesn't have is vitamin C, and our phycocyanin products have camu fruit extract, which has over 20 times more vitamin C than your average citrus does. So we've got that more than covered. But what's really cool is your body's actually able to use it and absorb it. Whereas, even the founder of one of the largest supplement chains in the world said over 80% of the products in his store weren't even absorbed by the human body. And you can't get that way. You can't get healthy eating organic and eating healthy and all that sort of thing. The New York Times put out an article in 2013 showing we bred all the nutrition out of our foods. So you can't get that, get healthy, eating your way there. You can't even get there supplementing your way there, really. So you're seeing lots of health issues, and not just physical health, but mental health. over 60% of the United States suffers from depression and anxiety. And it's really not that much better in anywhere that, you know, is a Western.
A lot of people are realizing that they can't get it out of their foodstuffs. In fact, they're getting bigger, more obese, because they're looking for the nutrients and everything else, and they're not getting them. What caught me when you said it is that, you know, you need to have those to perform as a human being, as if you're like a machine, because we're a biochemical machine. We need to have those things coming into our bodies. We need to be able to do that, and you know, it's amazing. But I'm loving that. For me, that's so powerful. And obviously a lot of people know about spirulina, which is huge, but and often look at it and think, oh, I know the quality is not going to be there, because, you know, understand that. But with yours, of course, we're talking about a product that's got that there. Everything's been taken care of, and you know it's good for your body. You know it's going to be doing what it's supposed to be doing.
But that's like half the story, not even half the story. The big thing is our phycocyanin content. So we've got the highest phycocyanin concentration in the world by a long shot in our blue-green algae. So not only do you have the highest, the highest nutrient, rich blue-green algae, you've got the heaviest biomass, which means you're actually getting more of the actual blue-green algae than you are anywhere else in the world on a cell level. But we've also got the highest phycocyanin concentration. And if you're watching this and you don't know what phycocyanin is, just Google benefits of phycocyanin. Last year in 2019, the FDA approved it for all sorts of crazy stuff. I mean, it's an insane blue protein, super antioxidant, mega anti-inflammatory. And it's been said that pretty much all disease and illness comes from inflammation. And when you have something that just deads inflammation and lactic acid and all that, you've got, I mean, miraculous things are taking place. And remember this, if you remember nothing else, you really don't know how good you could feel mentally and physically until you feel as good as you should feel. And that's what these products do, is get you back into balance and get you feeling and performing to the best of your ability.
Well, I like the fact that you're using the principles and the time-served principles to help people become successful. Your knowledge is there for people. They're not on their own, because I think a lot of people feel if they want to get into become an entrepreneur, or they want to get into business, or they want to do something just for themselves as a second income, they feel so alone. You know, they go into these sort of home-based, as we call them, hickey and flim-flam they are here in the UK. Flim-flam's a new word, but we hear it all the time, and they think, oh, I don't want to do that thing on my own, you know, run around like some sort of mad fool. And I like the fact that you've got this, we've got these people behind us. You know, you're talking to us in the US, which is absolutely amazing. They can get other supports from other people in the organization. After all, we're talking about networking, we're talking about a community of sorts from our point of view. And they're not on their own. So a lot of people, though, will think, okay, I understand that I've got an opportunity. I understand that I could get out of something, I could have an extra income, I could be successful, but I can't do it. I don't know if I can do it. Perhaps they've got a poor self-esteem, or they have a fear of failure, or they worry about what other people think, or, you know, stuff.
Well, the first thing I would say is I understand. I remember whenever I felt like that as well. So whenever I found network marketing, whenever I found this profession, and by the way, it doesn't have to be network marketing that sets you free. I mean, you know, there's an infinite number of ways for you to gain money and lifestyle, which are two separate things. So whenever I first got involved in this profession, my retirement plan was I was going to stand on a street corner holding a sign saying, you know, please, anything will help, and just beg for money, because I had given up hope on life. I was so far in a hole of just beating myself up. I mean, my self-image was horrible. And even whenever I made my first $1 million, my first couple of $1 million, I did everything I could to self-sabotage and throw it away. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't feel that I deserved it. I mean, if you had asked me if I did, I would have said, well, heck yeah. You know what I'm saying? I worked my ass off to get this. Of course I deserve it. You know, but you know, if you really got into the deep psychological underpinning of my psyche, no, I didn't have a good self-image. And so, you know, the first thing I would say is I understand. I remember feeling that. And there's a quote. It says, inch by inch, life's a cinch. yard by yard, life is hard. Of course, it's a huge distance between who I was then and who I am now, but I didn't get there overnight. See, and you won't either. You didn't get in the situation that you're in overnight. You will not get out of it overnight. Okay. It's just inch by inch. Right. And so I started by, I felt like I'm going to either get my goals, my dreams, get out of this situation, or I'm going to die trying my guts out. It got to that point. I had hit rock bottom and wanted to bounce back up. So I started with investing time and energy, because I had no money, into reading, personal development, taking notes, and implementing. The key is not just reading and knowing, it's doing. You have to implement as well. So many people know what to do and don't do it. And so that was a big key for me. I was in personal development every single day, implementing like a madman, like my life depended on it, because I knew it did. I remember being in the factories in my mid-20s, and there was twice that I just broke down crying, because I wasn't made for this. Like, I wasn't built to just be a factory worker. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it wasn't for me. And so I knew there was more out there. I knew that I was made for more. So personal development every single day, implementing like a madman, and then just not giving up. So much of life is just not giving up when other people would. There's a story in Think and Grow Rich that you mentioned called 3 Feet from Gold. And it talks about the Darby brothers in the gold rush, how they bought the machines and the stuff they needed to mine gold. And they mined for a little while, experience a little bit of success, and then it seems like it's ran dry. So they give up, they sell all their stuff, move back home, and they sell it for junk. The guy that bought it from the junkyard was smart enough to hire a professional to survey, and turns out they were 3 feet. And this is a true story. 3 feet from the largest vein of gold in American history. Had they just kept going just a little bit longer. And I find that's where so many people wind up. They stop right before their biggest success. And you just got to be consistent. Those that stick and stay get the pay. Stick with it, stay in the right activities. And if you have a hot enough vision, you got to push yourself at first. But if you develop a crystal clear vision that becomes a magnificent obsession, it'll pull you. You no longer have to push yourself as hard. So I think a lot of it is also coming up with a really big vision that wakes you up in the morning, that it tugs at your heart and your soul.
That's what we were going back to, what people want out of life. Those things, those qualities that they want out of life, they don't have. The working hours, all the hours that God sends, literally, they're exhausted. They can't see their families. They don't spend time around the people they love. They certainly don't have enough income to do something special or to do some of the things perhaps they have a passion for. I came across a poem that one of the people I was working with years ago had written, and he wrote a poem, not the traditional what if poem, but a poem or a spoken word about what if.
Okay.
And he talks about what if, various figures that we know as very famous. What if they hadn't done this? And what if Rosa Parks hadn't stood against the system? What if Tupac Shakur had no faith? And this is a fantastic spoken word piece. And what if Martin Luther King left his speeches on the shelf? What if? And it goes on like this, and it's a fabulous poem. He wrote it himself, this guy, this inspired stuff. And when we first heard it gave us goosebumps. It was like, whoa, that's goosey, that's just so great. He was talking about your potential. And he was talking about what if you haven't, expressed that and done what you wanted in life? And what if you came back on an opportunity, whatever that opportunity is, and you didn't go with it? What if you didn't take a chance, right? But I'd like to ask you that question. Do you ever think about what if you hadn't taken a risk? What if you hadn't gone with some of these opportunities?
If Austin Zulauf had never gotten involved in network marketing or the direct selling profession, understand that opportunities are never lost. Someone will always take the one that you pass on. So, the life that could have been yours, should have been yours, would have been yours, is now theirs. So, even if I hadn't, there would have been someone in my place that would have, been a trainer, a coach, a mentor, and all that sort of thing, I'm sure. to answer your question, where would I be? If I really put some thought into it, I think that I would probably be selling insurance like I used to. I would be miserable. I would be drinking a lot. I wouldn't be in as good a shape physically. Mentally, I would be an emotional train wreck. Network marketing really saved my life. It's been referred to as personal development with a compensation plan. And I also wouldn't have as vast of a network, as affluent of relationships and friends that I have. I'm friends with 3 billionaires, and two of them are good people. The other one, yeah. And so I think the entire fabric of my existence would be infinitely different. I might actually still be living with my mom because I don't know that I would have had the wherewithal that I built up in myself and the people, my environment around me had helped build. I don't think I would have had what it would have taken for me to pick myself up after being beaten down so hard from that corporate restructuring from the insurance profession. Because I worked really hard to get to divisional sales instructor, and just to have to start all over. So to answer your question, I think that I would probably still be where I was in my early 20s, financially, emotionally, physically, habitually, everything. It would not be a pretty scene, not inside at least. I'm sure it would look good on social media, but we always get the highlights of people's lives. I can actually wake up every morning and say, I'm free. I feel good mentally. I have came a million miles in my journey of self-mastery, and I feel good about who I am.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, that's really what I like to hear, because of course it's your story, and in the UK we do like real. I'm going to thank you, Austin. You've been absolutely brilliant. I mean, superb. There's so much knowledge there, and I'm not just talking about the obvious things that we've talked about that they speak for themselves, is in the products we've been talking about today, but also about you as a person, what a person can have intangibly, as well as tangibly, and perhaps to give them that light that they can actually do that. Even if they had a tenth of some of the things we're talking about, they'd be better off, and they know it, and it's whether they want to do something about it. Then here they're two different things, but that's cool.